Every day, before the world sees us, we face a battle, a silent war waged in the mind. No crowds, no medals, no recognition, just you against the enemy within. The doubts, the fears, the laziness, the voices that whisper not today. But here's the truth: you don't defeat this enemy once. You fight it daily. Every sunrise is a new battlefield, and your victory is not in what others see. It's in the decision to rise again and again when no one is watching. This is not motivation. This is war, and the war is within you. We live in a world that tells us the enemy is outside. It's the boss who doesn't recognize our work, the economy that's not in our favor, the people who doubt us, the opportunities we didn't get. But if you really sit in silence, if you listen to the voice inside your own head, you'll realize the true enemy is not out there. It's in here. Every single day. The first battle we face is not against time, competition, or circumstance. It's against the voice that wakes up with us. The one that whispers, "Stay in bed. Do it later. You're not ready. Who do you think you are?" That enemy has many faces. It shows up as procrastination, dressed like harmless rest. It speaks with the voice of perfectionism, convincing you not to start until everything is just right. It shows up in your fears not of failure, but worse, the fear of being seen trying and still falling short. This enemy is a master of disguise. It uses your own past against you, reminds you of every mistake, every time you didn't follow through. It will replay the moments you were hurt or rejected and say, "Why try again?" But here's the truth. If you don't name this enemy, you can't fight it. You must look it in the eye, call it out, say, "Yes, I doubt myself. Yes, I have fear. Yes, I mess up. But I'm not letting that stop me." See, the danger is not that we face an enemy. The danger is pretending it doesn't exist. The inner war is the war of identity. Every day, it tries to shrink your potential to match your past. It says, "Play small. Be safe. Don't dream big. Don't speak up." But you were not born for safety. You were born to stretch, to grow, to rise. And rising means resistance. The enemy is always there because growth is always possible. When you understand this, your life begins to change. You stop reacting to every challenge like it's an attack from the world. You start recognizing that it's just the inner enemy testing you. And the real victory? It doesn't come when you reach the top. It comes when you fight back today right now against the pull of mediocrity. There's a reason why mornings feel hard. It's because the first few moments after you wake up, that's when the enemy strikes. Before the world gets a piece of you, your mind already makes a choice. Will today be war or surrender? The bed feels warm. Your dreams still echo. Your responsibilities feel distant. And then that voice comes again. Sleep a little longer. You need rest. You've worked hard. It's just one day. But one day becomes two. To becomes a week. And before you know it, the dreams you once had are buried beneath layers of tomorrows. Winning the morning isn't about being superhuman. It's about recognizing that those first 10 minutes of your day set the tone for everything else. It's about training your soul to wake up and fight even when it doesn't want to. You don't have to win the whole day. Just win the first hour. That's when the enemy is weak and your will is still forming. That's when you build the habit of choosing yourself before the world chooses what you should become. Make your morning sacred, not perfect sacred. Wake up early, not because it's trendy, but because you need time to armor yourself before the battles of life begin. Pray, meditate, move your body, read something that sharpens your spirit. Don't scroll, don't compare, don't numb yourself with noise. These are not little tasks. These are weapons. Each act, a blow against the enemy. And yes, there will be days when it's hard, days you fail. But every morning is mercy. Every sunrise is a new chance to start the fight again. Some people wait for motivation. Warriors don't. Warriors rise with purpose, even when their bones ache, even when their mind resists. They rise. Because in that morning hour, before the world demands anything, you declare who you are. You're not lazy. You're not your past. You're not your fears. You are a fighter. And this day you will fight again. Fear is not a monster hiding under your bed. It's not the scream in the dark or the sudden panic before a disaster. No, fear is far more clever than that. It's the voice that sounds like reason. It tells you not to speak because you might embarrass yourself. It convinces you to delay a dream because now isn't the right time. It disguises itself as logic, caution, even wisdom. But its real aim is paralysis. Fear doesn't want you to run. It wants you to freeze. It doesn't scream, it whispers. And the most dangerous thing is, it uses your own voice. Fear is the enemy's strongest soldier. And it reports for duty daily. It walks with you into every opportunity, every decision, every step forward. It doesn't care how talented you are. It doesn't care about your dreams, your passion, your hard work. It cares about one thing stopping you. What makes fear so powerful is that it's not always wrong. It reminds you of times you failed because you did. It tells you people might laugh because they have. It says you could lose everything because yes, you could. But here's what fear won't tell you. That growth only happens through risk. That you've survived every hard day so far. That your potential lies on the other side of that discomfort. Fear will guard the gates of your greatness with everything it has. But the mistake we make is trying to eliminate fear. You can't. You don't outgrow fear. You outgrow your response to it. You learn to walk with it. You feel the tight chest, the racing heart, the trembling hands, and you move anyway. Because courage is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to act in spite of it. Every time you choose action over avoidance, you weaken fear's grip. Every time you raise your voice, take that chance. Put yourself out there. You reclaim territory the enemy tried to occupy. And soon, you begin to realize fear isn't here to stop you. Fear is here to show you what matters. It points to the very place you're supposed to go next. It's not a wall, it's a doorway. And the only way to win is to walk through it trembling. We often look at greatness as one huge leap, a moment of glory, a spotlight, a victory that silences everything. But the truth, greatness is not built in a day. It's built in the dark, on the days that feel unremarkable. It's built through small wins. We underestimate the power of little choices. The decision to get out of bed when you want to stay. The 10 extra minutes of reading when you want to scroll. Saying no to temptation and yes to responsibility. These moments don't make headlines, but they are bricks, and every time you choose right, you lay another one. Brick by brick, you build something no one can take from you. Self-respect. The enemy wants you to believe you need big results. Fast. It says, what's the point of working out if you're not seeing a six-pack? What's the point of writing if no one's reading yet? What's the point of trying when it's not changing anything? But the real point is this: you're not doing it for the outcome. You're doing it to become the kind of person who shows up. And small wins reinforce that identity. You start seeing yourself not as a dreamer, but as a doer. Not as someone who talks about change, but someone who creates it. Even science backs this up. Every time you accomplish a task, no matter how small, your brain releases dopamine. That's the chemical of motivation. It makes you feel good. It tells your brain, this is the path. Small wins stack. They build momentum. And momentum is how you go from I can't to I did. But here's the trap. Small losses also stack. Every excuse, every skipped effort, every time you let the enemy win, you lose momentum. That's why this fight is daily. Not because you're weak, but because you're human, and humans need reminders. Humans need rituals. Humans need to practice their power. So build a system around small wins. Celebrate them. Track them. Turn them into a habit. Because one small win today leads to another tomorrow, and suddenly, you're not the same person you were a month ago. You've become someone dangerous, someone disciplined, someone the enemy fears. Not because you did something massive, but because you showed up when it didn't matter until it did. Every day, you are either training a loyal army or feeding a silent assassin. That army, it's called your habits. We like to believe our lives are shaped by the big decisions, the dramatic moments, the life-changing opportunities. But in reality, your life is a mirror of your habits, the small things you do over and over again when no one is watching. Habits are invisible architects. They shape your attitude. They direct your focus. They determine whether your day ends in defeat or quiet victory. The enemy knows this. That's why it doesn't need to destroy you in one blow. It just needs you to repeat the wrong pattern long enough. It needs you to hit snooze again. Skip the workout again. Scroll endlessly again. And the most dangerous part? You won't even notice you're being defeated. Because habits don't shout. They whisper. They sneak in. They become routine. And routine becomes identity. You stop saying, I didn't work out today. You start saying, I'm just not consistent. You stop saying, I avoided that tough conversation. You start saying, I'm not a leader. And just like that, your repeated action becomes your belief. But the same power works in reverse. Choose the right habits, and you arm yourself. Get up early not to impress anyone, but to prove to yourself you still command your will. Read every day not for information, but for identity. Eat clean, move, plan, pray, journal not because you have to, But because warriors prepare for battle, habits are not about perfection. They're about alignment. Align your actions with your goals, your principles, your calling. Because every action you repeat is a vote for who you become. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your systems. So what systems are you building? What habits are marching under your name? Are they soldiers trained for victory or traitors feeding your defeat? Because here's the truth. If you don't take control of your habits will take control of you. You're not always going to feel like fighting. Let's get that straight. There will be days when you're exhausted. Days when the motivation is gone. Days when everything in your body screams, "Not today." That's when the real test begins. The enemy within knows your emotions better than you do. It knows how to push you toward comfort. It knows how to wait until you're weak, until you're tired, until you're overwhelmed, and then whisper, "You've done enough. Take it easy today. Skip it. You'll get back tomorrow." But if you live by how you feel, you'll be a slave to your emotions. And emotions, while real, are terrible leaders. Mental toughness isn't about never feeling weak. It's about acting strong in the presence of weakness. Discipline is the decision to move forward when the energy is gone. It's not sexy. It's not loud. It's not viral. It's quiet. It's often painful. But it is the only way to win consistently. Mental toughness is built like muscle through resistance. You don't become mentally strong by reading quotes. You become mentally strong by doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. You don't skip the gym because you're tired. You go because that's who you said you are. You don't break your word because you're frustrated. You follow through because your word means something. You don't give up on your vision because life got hard. You fight harder, because now the victory will mean more. The enemy doesn't fear your good days. It fears the days you're broken and still choose to show up. Because that's when you prove something to yourself, that you are not ruled by your feelings, that you are a disciplined weapon forged in pressure. The world celebrates talent, but talent fades. Emotion fades. Charisma fades. But grit keeps going. Grit keeps showing up. Grit wins when nothing else does. And mental toughness is not about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally disciplined. You can feel everything: pain, anger, fear, and still choose the path of growth. That's power. That's mastery. That's how warriors live. And the best part, mental toughness is built, not born. It's forged every time you choose your principles over your mood. Every time you say, "I'll do it anyway." Pain isn't the enemy. Comfort is. Most people spend their entire lives running from pain, avoiding it, numbing it, pretending it's not there. But pain doesn't disappear just because you ignore it. In fact, the more you hide from it, the more power it gains over your life. Here's the truth. Pain is the only teacher that never lies. It tells you when something needs to change. It shows you where your limits are. And if you listen closely enough, it reveals where your power lies. The enemy wants you soft. It wants you addicted to comfort. Because the more comfort you chase, the less capable you become. Every time you say, "This is too hard," and back away, you train yourself to be weaker the next time. But when you embrace struggle, when you face pain head on, you start to build something the enemy can't touch: resilience. Think about a muscle. You don't build it by resting. You build it by breaking it down through tension, stress, resistance. That's what pain does to your spirit. It tears it just enough to rebuild it stronger. You don't grow through success. You grow through discomfort. Through those moments when everything in you says, "I can't," and you whisper back, "Watch me." And no, pain doesn't feel good. It's not supposed to. Pain demands something from you. It demands honesty. It demands reflection. It demands that you stop blaming the world and start taking responsibility. Pain says, "You can't keep living like this. Change." Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history, personal, emotional, spiritual, came after someone hit rock bottom. Because pain clears out the noise. It burns away the distractions. And in the ashes, you finally see what matters. The enemy wants to use pain to break you. But what it doesn't realize is that you were made for war. Every scar you carry is not a sign of weakness. It's a reminder that you survived, that you bled and broke, but you're still here. That's power. Not the kind they celebrate, the kind that lives in silence and wins in storms. In this daily war against the enemy within, you are not just fighting alone. You are influenced by the voices around you. And here's the harsh reality: some of the people in your life aren't helping you fight, they're helping the enemy win. We don't always notice it at first, because some of these people care about us. They love us. They're kind. They're comfortable. But they also say things like, "Just take a break. You've been working hard enough. You don't have to push so much. Why do you always make everything so serious?" It sounds like love, but it's disguised permission to shrink. Be careful, not every friend is a fighter. Not every companion is a comrade. Some people aren't pushing you forward. They're pulling you back slowly, gently, without realizing it. If you're surrounded by people who celebrate mediocrity, who normalize quitting, who validate excuses, you're not just fighting the enemy within. You're feeding it. The people around you are either sharpening your sword or dulling it. Ask yourself, do they challenge your thinking? Do they call out your excuses? Do they inspire action, not just comfort? Or do they enable your weakness, keep you stuck in old patterns, distract you from your mission? Growth is uncomfortable, and it will make others uncomfortable to. Because when you rise, it confronts their stagnation. And sometimes that means letting go of old friendships, letting go of family narratives, letting go of people who loved the you that played small but can't handle the you that wants more. It's painful. But remember, this is war. You don't take civilians into battle. You take warriors. People who are fighting their own enemy. People who hold you accountable even when it hurts. People who don't flinch. When you're bleeding, they hand you the sword and say, "Keep going." Find those people. Build your circle of strength. Not a crowd, but a crew. Not those who clap when you're comfortable, but those who call you out when you're not being who you could be. Because the enemy within becomes stronger when you're surrounded by people who keep you soft. But when you're around warriors, when you walk with lions, something awakens in you. You fight harder. You rise quicker. You fall less. The war is daily. And you don't win it alone. If you don't know where you're going, every distraction becomes a destination. If you don't have a vision, the enemy within will always win, because nothing is more dangerous than a person with no purpose. Vision is not just about dreams or goals, it's your reason to fight. It's the image of your future that's so clear, so personal, so powerful, that it pulls you through pain, fatigue, and failure. Without vision, discipline becomes torture. Waking up early feels pointless. Sacrifice feels empty. Effort feels like punishment. But with vision, everything changes. Vision gives your fight direction. It transforms suffering into strategy. It gives purpose to your no's and strength to your yeses. It takes pain and makes it a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. The enemy knows that if it can blur your vision, it can beat you without ever throwing a punch. All it has to do is confuse you. All it has to do is make you question why you're doing this. And slowly, you'll stop showing up. You'll stop giving your best. You'll start saying things like, maybe I'm not meant for this, or maybe this isn't worth it. But here's the truth: the vision isn't supposed to be easy. It's supposed to test your commitment. Your future is not something you stumble into. It's something you fight your way toward. You must see it before anyone else does. You must believe in it when it's fragile, when it's small, when no one claps for it. You must protect it when doubt creeps in. Because one day, that vision becomes your reality, not because of luck, but because of loyalty. You stayed loyal to the vision, even when life gave you every reason not to. You stayed faithful when nothing around you looked like progress. You kept going when others quit, because your eyes were fixed on something they couldn't see. That's the weapon. Vision is what lets you keep moving forward when your body says stop. Vision is what drowns out the noise when the world says you're crazy. Vision is what tells the enemy within, you can scream all you want, but I'm not stopping. And the most powerful thing, your vision doesn't have to be massive. It just has to be true. It just has to matter to you. Whether it's building a better life for your family, breaking generational cycles, living in alignment with who you were created to be, whatever it is, own it. Feel it. See it in your mind every day. Let it become your fuel. Because once your vision is clear, your enemy gets nervous. Why? Because a person with vision is dangerous. They don't need motivation. They don't need applause. They just need breath, and they'll keep going. The battle doesn't end when the sun goes down. In fact, some of the most important fights happen in silence after the noise fades. After the world stops demanding your attention. That's where reflection begins. Nighttime is not just for rest. It's for review. It's the mirror you hold up to your day. Not to shame yourself, but to sharpen yourself. You see, the enemy within doesn't just attack in the morning. It hides in the moments you never review. It survives in the unexamined actions, the unchecked patterns, the days that blur into each other. But when you reflect, truly reflect, you take back control. You ask yourself, where did I show up today? Where did I let the enemy win? What did I learn? What will I do better tomorrow? This is not about perfection, it's about awareness. Because awareness is a weapon. When you see your patterns, you can change them. When you notice your triggers, you can disarm them. When you admit your weaknesses, you can strengthen them. Most people live the same day over and over again and call it a life. But warriors don't just live days. They study them. They take lessons from the battlefield and carry them into the next fight. Nighttime reflection also brings gratitude into the equation, not in a soft, fluffy way, but in a warrior's way. Because if you fought today, if you showed up, if you resisted temptation, if you moved forward when you could have quit, you have something to be grateful for. Even if you failed, even if you fell short, gratitude is not just for wins. It's for effort. It's the fuel that reminds you, I'm still in the game. I'm still breathing. I'm still fighting. This practice, this nightly routine, is your mental armor. It doesn't take long. Just a few minutes of truth, silence, honesty, a journal, a voice note, a quiet walk. Something that says, I see where I was strong, I see where I was weak, and I'm ready to do better. Because tomorrow, the war begins again. The enemy wakes when you do. And your preparation tonight could be the edge you need. So before you close your eyes, ask yourself, did I fight well today? Did I live in alignment with the person I'm becoming? And how will I rise tomorrow smarter, stronger, sharper? That is how warriors end their day. Not by running from the battle, but by learning from it and preparing to return stronger. Every morning, the same question stands before you like a shadow. Will you fight today, or will you fade? This is the ultimate choice, not made once in your lifetime, but made daily. And it's never loud. It's never dramatic. It's in the tiny moments that pass unnoticed by the world, but define everything about you. You choose to fight or fade when your alarm goes off, when you feel like staying quiet instead of speaking your truth, when your dream feels too far and the enemy whispers, what's the point? Fading doesn't happen in a single moment. It's not an explosion, it's a slow erosion. It's saying I'll do it tomorrow, again and again. It's letting fear steer you just a little, until you can't even see the road anymore. The danger of fading is that you rarely know it's happening until you've disappeared into a life you didn't choose. The most successful people in the world didn't get there because they were smarter, luckier, or born into better circumstances. They got there because they made a choice to fight. Every single day. Fighting doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean always winning. It means getting back up when you lose. It means pushing through even when the outcome is unclear. It means refusing to give the enemy one more inch of your future. And make no mistake, the enemy is always ready. It will never take a day off. It will never say, you've earned a break. It will show up disguised as convenience, as rest, as distraction. But its goal is always the same: get you to fade. Fading is when your vision dulls. Fighting is when you sharpen it again. Fading is when you settle. Fighting is when you stand tall. Even when it hurts. The enemy wants you to believe that comfort is peace. But peace does not come from comfort. Peace comes from knowing you gave everything you had. That you resisted the pull to stay down. That you showed up when it mattered. And it matters today. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Today. Because the real war isn't between success and failure. It's between action and apathy, courage and complacency, growth and stagnation. You fight. or you'll fade. There is no neutral. The enemy wants you to believe there's a finish line, that one day you'll arrive, that once you get the job, the degree, the body, the business, the relationship, you can finally relax, that you'll reach a point where the voice inside you goes silent and the war is over. But here's the truth. There is no final victory, and that's not a curse, it's a calling. Because the battle within isn't something you win once. It's something you wake up and win again. You will never graduate from growth. You will never outgrow the struggle. There will always be another level, another challenge, another version of you that demands more. That's what life is, a series of evolutions. And every time you level up, the enemy adapts. It doesn't go away, it just changes form. One day it might be fear of failure, the next it's fear of success. One day it's procrastination. The next it's pride. One day it's self-doubt. The next it's complacency. The more you grow, the more subtle the enemy becomes. That's why warriors stay alert. That's why discipline must remain, because every new mountain reveals another valley. But hear this. Just because the fight never ends doesn't mean you're not winning. Every day you choose courage, you win. Every time you resist comfort, you win. Every time you quiet the noise and take action, you win. These aren't small victories. These are the real battles. The goal isn't to eliminate the enemy. The goal is to become someone who knows how to fight. Every time it rises. Because true strength isn't being fearless. It's being familiar with fear and still showing up. True resilience isn't never falling. It's building the muscle to rise faster every time you do. You were not born to fight once. You were born to be a fighter daily, relentlessly, purposefully. Some people search for an easy life, but the strongest ones, they don't wish for easy. They learn to carry the weight with strength. You see, there is something sacred about the daily battle. It reminds you that you're alive, that you still care, that your fire hasn't gone out. And as long as you're fighting, you're still in it. You're still becoming. You're still dangerous to the darkness. Because the final battle is never final, and the warrior is never finished.